Something that's not talked about enough in the industry is
you get burned out.
You're a pretty screwed up individual that is unbelievably buttoned up and put together.
That was something that happened to me.
We are all human beings.
I actually have a chance now to understand how to be a better parent.
You don't have to talk to a person to get your whole job site off the ground and going.
My daughter, she can sniff out the AI instantly.
They're not your country.
I told Anna, I was like, we're going to see real quick who runs a good restaurant.
Doesn't matter if it's golf or cooking, you will get results when you love what you do.
This is Live on the Clubhouse with Charley Bolak. Howdy, swingers. Charley Bolak here. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Clubhouse podcast here live from Swing Away Golf Club. Couple things as we get started here today. We have a new giveaway here at Swing Away Golf Club. Our golf bag here from Sunday Golf that's been sitting up at the front here for quite a while. We've decided if it'll help us grow our social media presence, we're going to go ahead and see if we can't give it away. We'll do a drawing once we get to 500 subscribers across all of our platforms. What we're really trying to do is grow our reach on that YouTube platform where we really think we can be effective with Swing Time Media and some other things that we're trying to do here. So, hey, if you're interested in winning a golf bag, here are the steps. You create your Whoosh profile. And again, even if you already have a Whoosh profile and all that, if you're not on all four and you want a free hour, come on, let's do it. So we have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and you'll be following me and the Swing Away page on LinkedIn, and then TikTok, as well as subscribing on, if I didn't say YouTube already, subscribing on YouTube. And then if you will send all that to info@sagolfclub.com, once you've got your Whoosh profile done there, we can go ahead and flop to, or go ahead and swap that over into your account. That free hour is populated, and then I can track where those free hours went. And when we're at 500 across all the platforms, we can go ahead and give that golf bag away. So, hey, look forward to that. I'm very excited. I hope you all are too. It's a great quality bag. I wanted it for myself, but the guys at Inverness Golf were so good to me on the ping bag that I carry that I just I couldn't put that one down. But we're very excited to give this away. Go to all those platforms, like, follow, subscribe, listen in for all the upcoming deals, giveaways. This won't be the only chance to win some free golf as we go through the summer here and into the fall. So we don't want to give much free stuff away in the winter. That's kind of our busy time. But we definitely will give you some incentive to come in throughout the summer and the fall. So look forward to all the updates that we've got going on. And thank you so much for being here. All right, we got one going dead here, so we'll go ahead and kill that one off. Just don't get hardly any battery time out of those. All right, so let me go back here. What do we have on the preview? I think I want to go to this one. Kind of like that. Yeah. And that's on the program anyway. All right, folks. So rolling into our topic here, our first topic, we're going to go out of order a little bit. We have I guess I don't know if I would call it straight up parenthood, fatherhood, hell, even marriage. So what it is, I have a bit of a beef going on with GMC right now because a couple days ago, or was it yesterday? Our days run together anyway, but I think it was yesterday, my wife lost her key to her GMC Yukon, and we were swapping out at the hospital, I think. And she said, "Hey, look, the key's in there. I don't know where in there." No, we were swapping out here at Swing Away. She said, "I don't know where, but the key's in there. Can't lock it, so just go." So I went, I did my bidding, and she asked last night or this morning whether I'd had a chance to find the key, and I said, "No, not yet." and that's just a signal of how busy our lives are, but I digress. So continuing the morning, she's got Teddy at swim lesson, and I'm getting Frank and Leo ready. Leo goes to his grandmother's house, and Frank goes to Hand in Hand, and I go to get the car started and press the button. It said key in sleep mode, move key fob to unlock or something like that. And I'm like, man, I mean, if I had the key fob, I wouldn't find myself in this situation. So, my quick mental calculus is, do I tear the car apart, or really, if I'm kind of in a hurry like I am this morning, I wonder if I could shake the car enough to get it out of the sleep mode. So that was about a 3-minute detour. I actually went in to see if I could pull the security cameras, but I was from my house. It wasn't a good enough angle. It wasn't funny enough to put on here. But I'm just out pushing it, trying to wake up the sleeping key fob to allow me to start the car, cool it down, get the boys in, and progress through our morning. So needless to say, I was about 10 minutes late opening Swing Away today because this does not sufficiently shake a key fob in a big old suburban type Yukon XL thing to wake it up. So I wasted a few minutes, couldn't shake it enough to get going, and had to find. Ultimately, we found it in between a seat and a console, very deep, and there was an injury getting it out. Made sure my wife knew that I got the injury points on that as well. But that's what a way. After we were already late. Leo wasn't feeling well. We just got him out of the hospital yesterday, so he's kind of sluggish getting up and going. Frank. Is Frank. He's just savage, baby. None of our other kids fought us on diapers, or anything like that. But he's just a strong-willed child, and he does not like, especially after a poop, being cleaned up. So, had that fight, and then only to go out, already 5-10 minutes late, and not be able to start the car. Man, it was just not a good way to go into your morning. So probably apologies to Anna maybe for my outburst there. I was not, I was not completely under control 100% of the morning, but hey, it's just, that's what we do when we live our lives on these razor thin time margins. One little slip up, your key falls in between the seat and the console, and you can't find it. It's just shocking, but it's these little breadcrumbs that build up to an event. So glad it was not anything serious. Glad everything worked out, and we were just a few minutes late here to Swing Away, and nobody's darkened the door today, so no harm, no foul. Great little a heart exercise for me in the morning, as well as what do they call it? Mental exercise, mental training. There we go. All right, so over to our business topic today, and really just kind of reviewing the, kind of steps as they build themselves in my kind of learning curve into small business ownership, from a career in sales into how to run a small business, basically a golf bar with a podcast studio in it and all kinds of other fun stuff going around. And really that is the depth and breadth of everything that goes into these social media campaigns. Earlier, we kind of opened the show with the announcement of the golf bag, and I'm going in and making these images and looking at what platforms we want to include in all of this. And, you have to log into each one. I get all set up. I've got my little tabs open. I've got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok. And I keep Whoosh open for any bookings. And then, bring in the streaming stuff. That's where we go mine all these shorts from these conversations and from the lunch hour golf stuff. And if you would have asked me if I'd have known any of this a year ago, by the way, the answer would have been no, you're crazy. I'd never do something like that. And then here we are, not even a full calendar year later, finding out the hard way. But it is, it's pleasing and oddly satisfying when you get done and you see concrete results. You see these platforms growing. You see people or hear people come in at Swing Away and say, hey, we saw you on TikTok, Instagram, whatever it may be. It is kind of instant gratification, because a lot of times you'll post these videos and that night, oh man, I love this video. I came in, because of it. Now, I mean, we're not talking about hundreds of people. We're talking about maybe 5 or 10, but still, you start somewhere and you grow, and you learn every bit along the way. So as we were rolling out all this, and I'm going through these different posts, because God forbid you say the same thing on Facebook in the same way as you did on Instagram. But it makes sense, right? Because it's a different age group, it's a different demographic, it's a different, just individual all the way that's going to be on each different platform. You have to approach them a different way. Again, just one of those things you never would have thought about, or at least I wouldn't. Maybe somebody, some dad sitting on the toilet somewhere thinking about what it's like to do social media, but I was not that guy. So, I've kind of tossed myself in the deep end. I mean, no one to blame, right? You started the business, you did all the legwork. Now you find yourself here. But it's strangely satisfying, strangely enjoyable. Still hate editing videos, still not good at it, but I am getting better. I'm getting at least faster as I go through all this. And then with some of the other tools we've brought on, the ability to kind of restream some of all this, like set the live broadcast. So that takes us to another topic, kind of off outside of the business, rolling into the podcast. If anybody does have a suggestion of a method of which they'd like to roll it out, do you want to see these premiere, on the week when we can? We're still going to do some lives, but it's still, most of the content I do believe is going to be in this, pre-recorded and then released format. It's easier for me, and I don't have to kind of filter myself quite as much when we're not on the live end, and there's not as much danger of me going a little too far. Of those who know me, know me. But yeah, so keep a lookout for that. So we've gone through fatherhood, we've gone through business, we've talked about Swing Away. And so into golf, and we'll talk about, I actually had the opportunity to play 7 holes outdoors at Bentbrook the other day. And kind of throughout the history of the podcast, we've talked about how I haven't had the time to go play outdoors outside of, one trip with Teddy to the backyard right over there. And, I hit great, not dialed in crisp, but, good contact on the ball. And I really thought that would kind of carry into my next outdoor adventure, because I'm still practicing, I'm still doing my thing. So what translated and what didn't, we're kind of going to lay it out here now for you. My ball striking was, phenomenal when I struck the ball correctly, right? There was one on number 1 windmill, and we'll back into those first couple shots, because I went out cold, and that was a fiasco in and of itself. But I debated hitting a 5-wood. We were just on this hole. It's probably about a 420 yard par 4, and I drove it to just beside a fairway bunker, kind of the ball sitting on an incline. I think it was 250, 240 in, and the elevation was relatively similar. And I knew I'd get a higher ball flight, so I could really kind of go at the swing and not risk going over. If anything, I was going to be a little short. And that's ultimately what happened. But I mean, it was, I had never hit a ball that good with a wood outside, probably ever. And if I did, it was a one-off here and there, don't even remember it type shot. And it landed. It was on a perfect track to the pin, just died off about maybe 5 yards short of the green in some rough, just above another bunker. And I say all that to say, going back to those first couple, like not cold, I mean, I duffed the first 6 shots. And then if I got into some pretty atrocious, when I got into kind of, I wouldn't say it necessarily atrocious, just more difficult lies, the ball striking wasn't quite as good as it could have been because, playing indoors for basically a year at this point, I just didn't have that kind of off-kilter experience. And it took me a while to ease back into that. But really, I feel like once I had a few shots by maybe the 4th, 5th hole, man, I was just really kind of clicking into it. I was hitting some good shots, several drives, 250 plus, several duffs along the way. But, clearly to me, the translatable impact of ball striking, I was much more confident around the green with my putts. I putted terribly because my speed judgments were off. I'd say, okay, let me do what I would do for 20 feet in the sim, and I would hit that stroke, and it would be right what I wanted to. And generally, I was short, and that was surprising to me. I expected the greens at Benbrook to be really fast. They might have been a little long. It was kind of hot that day, so they might not have cut that morning. But chipping was phenomenal. Again, wedges, medium irons, short irons, all just fantastic. Driver kind of let me down a little bit. Now, like I said, I had a couple good ones, and generally I don't get a ton of great ones on the sim either, but I felt like I could have driven the ball a little bit better. Eventually we're going to try to get to where we can kind of chronicle this and see what it looks like when you're putting in all this work only to get to go outside very limited amounts. I'll tell you the improvement. I didn't keep score. I don't know what I shot, but I know there were 2 birdies in there, even with the poor putting. I'm stoked. One of these days, I'm going to go out with a group of my friends and not have to worry about chasing a 4-year-old and trying to concentrate on golf and see where my game actually is, and being on the wagon for a couple months, see what a sober round of golf looks like, feels like, and if I can keep my head in the game while we're experimenting with all these new things, but hey, look forward to all that, and that's really going to wrap it up. Tell you what, great show today. Thank you so much for being here. Hope to see everybody soon.